Okay, this is another video on my Dumb Atheist Arguments series. And I watch a lot of atheists here on YouTube talk about the historical Jesus. Well, most atheists don't even think Jesus really existed that I talk to. I'd say like 7 or 8 out of 10 don't even think that he existed and that he was patterned after pagan mythology. And I run into a lot of ignorant statements by atheists on this subject of the historical Jesus and early Christianity. It's pretty staggering. Now, I did my master's thesis on the historical Jesus, and I did my THD in early Christianity, my dissertation on early Christianity. Read hundreds of scholars on the subject from all the spectrum of scholarship, and so I've studied the subject a lot. I know the field pretty good. I'm not a scholar myself, but I know the field pretty well. Now, I know that people that have not studied in the field can get real passionate about the topic and learn a lot about it and be very educated about it and make very insightful contributions to a field. I know that. But when I go to YouTube atheists, popular YouTube atheists, and even regular atheists for that matter, on the internet, I find ignorant statement after ignorant statement after error, conspiracy theories that are just bizarre. It's laughable and sad at the same time. Now, I know atheists don't like young earth creationists. They really go after young earth creationists. Now, I am not a young earth creationist. Not a young earth creationist. I believe the earth is 4 billion years old, 3.7 billion years old. Believe the universe too is old. I pretty much accept the Big Bang. I accept the majority of the evolutionary paradigm. So I don't really have a beef in that department with anything. But I want to share with you, atheists, some arguments from young earth creationists that sound like you sound when you start talking about historical Jesus and early Christianity stuff. Okay? How do you feel, atheists? Put yourself in my shoes. How do you feel when you hear a Christian, young earth creationist say, look at the banana. It fits perfectly in the human hand, and this has got to be from God. This shows that God exists. Look, it's like a telephone too, like I can talk in a telephone. Look at that. It's right in my ear and right to the mouth. God. How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel when young earth creationists go, look it, this is peanut butter. If evolution was true, if you left this jar of peanut butter out with a bunch of peanut butter, there should be life in it after. Now look, I'm going to close this jar of peanut butter. This thing is, I'm going to leave it here. Now let's open up this jar of peanut butter. No life in it. See? Evolution is disproved. How does that make you feel? Or why are the planets round? God. How does that make you feel? Frustrated? Or show us a transitional fossil. The missing link. Show us a missing link in the evolution. Show us the part duck and the part alligator out there. When creationists make those arguments, how do you feel? How do you feel when a young earth creationist says, you believe that an alligator can give birth to a cat? That's how stupid you are. Show us a half wing. If you've studied evolution, you atheists, if you've studied it to any degree, how would that make you feel when creationists say those things? How does that make you feel? When I listen to pop atheists like TBS here, and Venaloid, he's going to pretty much parrot TBS error after error, the same errors. That's how I feel. And then when you ask for evidence for creationism, you go and you see they pretty much they go to Conservapedia and they parrot the Conservapedia arguments against evolution. You know that because when you go to the Conservapedia articles on evolution, they almost say word for word what the young Earth creationist says on their video. And they quote scholars out of their field. They quote mathematicians as if they know something about biology. This is the situation I find myself in when dealing with YouTube atheists on these issues of the historical Jesus and early Christianity. Now I'm going to close here with this video because this is going to be a series. It's so much error here. We got to do it in a series. I'm going to close here with his quote, and then we're going to go into it in the next scene. And then we're going to deal with Venaloid. He makes the same. He pretty much parrots his arguments, even does it even worse. And they're actually the more sane YouTube atheists that I listen to about the historical Jesus and early Christianity. They actually have some half-truth in there, in a way. Okay, now let's listen to TBS here and his claim before we get into his actual arguments against the validity of the Gospels in the New Testament.
This video is very different from a lot of my other videos, which are based on theory and sort of logic and rationality and what seems reasonable and what makes sense. This is a video about facts. And anything I say is backed up and supported by biblical scholars, textual critics, and historians. I promise you that I will not mention anything or make any claim about history or about what we know of the Gospels that is not at least supported by a majority of biblical scholars and historians. And that said, don't take my word for it. It's all out there. It's all out. This is all information that's available to you and anyone who wants to look it up and just...
We won't take your word for it. We're going to actually look it up here and find error after error, ignorant statements, half-truths. We're going to do that in our next videos. All right. God bless.